Welcome, everyone. If we could start this evening off with an approval of our agenda.
One question, Mr. Baldwin. I read in the paper that Jim Goodrich, Director of the Surface Water Management, is to resume work this month now that snow has left us. Would you recommend adding real aquatic constraint back to the agenda for discussion?
No.
That's all I have.
Any further discussion? Looking for a motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support?
Support.
Motion support, roll call, please.
Brennan,
Yeah.
Horton,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dick,
No.
Baldwin.
Yes. Our closed session for March 9th. Comment on that, guys?
Yes, Mr. President, we had a discussion in regards to,
So number 2.
number 2.
Closed session, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, here, number 2 on here. It's in the closed session, so it's my understanding that we can't actually speak of this, so I'm trying to, I think Mr. Brandon's trying to be,
I understand what you're
Okay.
saying. And no, we cannot speak on it.
yeah.
I asked you if we could, open that up for discussion past 3 months.
And we still cannot, the advisement of our attorney, we do not want to talk about that.
Oh, excuse me.
I wish you'd talk to me, I would put that on, but, next month I will.
I'll hold you to it.
Please call me though. Tell me how you. We can work around a lot of things on what goes on the agenda if you guys will call me. And if not, we can discuss the reasons why we're going in whatever direction. But the idea that under our attorney's advisement, we don't want to talk about the drain nor the dam. That probably isn't going to change that.
Well, it's just a disservice to, our residents. I understand the litigation, but
But we represent all of the people, not just the 100 that are in the drainage district. And we have to be concerned with their concerns too, and look out for them. So with that, I'm gonna stick to my guns, and we're not gonna talk about it. So, the closed session. And if there's nothing else, I will make a motion that we accept the closed session minutes for March 9th, 2015. Looking for support.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Brennan,
yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Treasurer's report, regular meeting. The regular meeting.
One thing I see on here, Mr. Baldwin, is that there was, for the agenda, when the motion was to be approved, the first motion, there's no discussion for the motion on why it failed. And I thought that should have been added to the minutes. And again, we had a motion to reconsider the agenda, which it passed. My understanding, anytime you have a motion or discussion, the discussion is documented on the motion.
Make note of that. I want to put that in next month's. That he wants, that noted that we didn't put the reasons down didn't really go anywhere. Nothing said about it.
Well, it could just be corrected for the discussion that, the reasoning, that it didn't pass, or the discussion on the motion, was that there was concerns that it wasn't on the agenda, and there was dialogue with Mr. McKinney. That's basically sums up the conversation. And then we could have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
We can insert that, couldn't we?
If that's what your direction is.
Yeah, let's insert that.
Okay,
Everybody's
motion-
good with that?
Motion was made and discussion
That's as far as it
not
went.
included in minutes. Anything else?
Okay with that? I mean, at least it's entered in that way. That's what it is. All set with that? Looking for a motion to accept the regular council meetings for March
Is
9th.
that the condition of accepting the council minute?
With that added to the council minutes.
That's, okay.
Right, so it'd be a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
With that insertion, right?
I don't know, I'm listening. At this point, you have a motion to,
Let's back up, I'm not trying to confuse this, all I'm trying to do is get.
I just need
No,
it-
no, I hear you. I'm
right.
trying to just get the discussion of why the motion didn't pass. And there was discussions with the attorney and concerns on when the Wheelock Watkins Drain and dam was not on the agenda.
How do
That's
you
all
want
I'm
it
looking
worded?
for the corrections. And
Okay,
then
well-
once that's placed, then we can have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected. Because we can't just make the motion to accept the minutes, because that's basically saying we're accepting what is written right now. I'm saying that clearly, Jack, making sense here.
accept the minutes.
Read back what you have, Pat.
Well, right now, you had just said that you wanted it noted, a motion to accept the minutes with, noted that motion was made and discussion was not included in minutes, is what you just repeated to me.
Yes,
Yes.
that's good.
Okay. Okay,
You all set with that?
yeah, as long as I've got down what you wanted,
Yes.
we're okay.
We're good. Sport?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Vick.
That was it? Okay.
I'll support.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Bannon,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Okay, now we can go to the treasurer's report, the purple sheet.
Make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report, April 13th, 2015.
Support.
Is all set? No further comment, roll call, please.
Bannon,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Bills and transfers? Comment? Questions? Looking for a motion, please.
Make a motion, we accept the bills and transfer for April 13th, 2015.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Bannon,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Is all set? This is our first of the public comments. I would like to remind everyone, with your public comments, please just address your name, not your address, and you will be talking to the chair. That said, our guidelines are, there isn't much to them, other than the fact I just want everybody to understand that I will follow Mr. Horton's lead, and I will be gracious with your 3 minutes. When it's time to wrap it up, I'll signify to please speed things up if you drag on. With that said, I just want to make sure everybody understands that everyone is entitled to their opinion. You don't have to agree with your neighbor's opinion. That neighbor is entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to allow any personal attacks on anybody that comes back on their neighbor for what they said during their public comments. With that, somebody please.
I'm Gortella. I've been up here, this is my 4th month, addressing the June 30th minutes that I keep mentioning are incorrect. Last month, you said you were gonna look into it and get back to me. Did you look into it? And?
I will comment at the end. Tonight, I will comment on it.
You won't comment now, so that I can have my comment? Will I have an opportunity to ask you questions?
You can speak during public comments.
Well, I still got another couple minutes. Now, the first meeting, I questioned the fact that there was ever a meeting where they brought back Mr. McKinney. And it says here that they did, and I agree with that, and I told you I did. So therefore, the rest of those minutes that says, as there was no mention or motion was ever made to terminate Mr. McKinney. That's the problem I have, and you understand that, right? Those minutes are not right. So if you go any other way, I'll be up here next month, straighten it out again. Because there are minutes that state just the opposite. That's all.
I was here at that meeting.
Norm Bass. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to address the council, and this is concerning the DPW versus the county, Genesee County doing the work for the village, okay? I want to let you know that our forefathers set up this village, okay? So we could get some extras and have control over some of the services that we get out of our community, okay? Because of that, our taxes are a little higher, and we try to support that. Meantime, this DPW is an essential service, okay, to our community, okay, with control from within. I want to point out that under this Genesee County outline, okay, they've come up with figures of $1,700 for 8 hours regular, $2,200 for overtime, and $2,700 for holiday, anytime they perform their services. If you go over the rates and what transpires a year through our DPW or whatever, I think you will find that not only will we not get the services of the county as we're accustomed to, like a snowfall comes out, and with their, they have to take care of the expressways and the major roads and the school bus situations, okay? Our private subdivisions will be 3 or 4 days down the line before they get plowed. The other thing is that they will have no, there will be no snow plowing of sidewalks. The same thing with working with our roads or whatever. We'll be down the line as far as trying to get any services at all from the county after all of the other things have been transferred. And the important thing is that we started this community, okay, so we could get these extra special efforts. And through the DPW, we have got some control over it, and I'm not denying that we could probably update some of the few problems that the DPW maybe has. But to take the DPW out of our control, I just wanna go on record as a citizen that I'm fully against it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Patricia Wartella, and I'd like to talk to you regarding the upcoming budget work that you're gonna work on for the upcoming budget that will end the fiscal year in June. And first off, I just wanna talk about the township that we're affiliated with and the township that we are part of. And I think it's critical for the residents to evaluate exactly what the township does for us and what they do and what they have done and what they continue to do. First off, they manage 36.2 miles. Maybe that's off a little bit, but that's a large scale compared to what the village encompasses. They also manage our police department, they manage our fire department, they do our assessing. They also do sewer collections on their sewers that they have in their area. They do our elections. And let's not forget that the township had taken over our library because we couldn't afford it. I'm really concerned over the fact that this budget needs to be evaluated with the upcoming responsibilities that our entire community is going to be responsible for. Mr. Baldwin, you know as well as I do that we've got a large ticket items that are ahead of us. Those include the Wheelock-Watkins drain that we can no longer ignore. We also have our lawsuit that the entire community is involved in. Let's not ignore that. We can't. They're depositioning as we speak. So the bottom line is right now that you, as a council president, with the council that sits here, and the newcomers, Mr. Vick and Mr. Brannon, need to understand how much the township does. On part-time basis, they're not open on Fridays, they do not receive benefits. I personally think that we need to reevaluate everything that we could save the taxpayer money with. And I think that you owe that to the community. I believe that we need to consider everything that's at stake. And lastly, before I finish speaking, I wanna know from you, when did we vote in the third DPW worker? When did this council vote in that third body? I've been attending the meetings and I've never seen any motion to bring on a third body. And we've got 3 DPW workers. That's a lot of money. Thank you.
Richard Soroli, Goodrich. Last meeting, I requested from the council 2 issues that they could look into. One was if engineering changes were involved in the quotes that came in from police and Vander, right? And the other one was whether it was possible to not accept the findings, and I know it's talking about the drain again, and you're not gonna respond to it, and I understand that. But at least I wanted to make you aware of the fact that there are communities that could not handle the kind of cost that we're being said that we might have to do with this drain. That being said, I didn't go forward and accuse anybody of anything. I didn't ask anything radical. I just asked for 2 simple actions on the council's part. I found out about the engineering. It is not included in the quotes. That stands alone, it's separate. The other one I know you can't talk about. If you're looking into that, that's fine. We'll look at the numbers get quite large about replacing it, and it might be a better way of doing it. After saying that, I was viciously attacked on a personal basis. I'm glad what you're saying, that this should be basically a meeting that when we have it, is going to be addressing issues and not individuals. I think there's no place for that here. I think when we have a council meeting, it's what's on the agenda. Second thing would be you explaining, the council explaining to the residents what you plan to do. And thirdly, any questions that could be answered pertaining to the agenda or pertaining to the village's actions. The only problem that I have is getting into this back and forth thing. I can go down a liturgy right now and tell you everything that was said in the meeting about me that is false. I'm not gonna do that. But if there's one important thing that I wanna say tonight about that. There was a question as whether I had a special interest in stopping the drain. First of all, you can't stop the drain because Board of Determination has already said we have to do something. So the statement that I'm trying to do that was totally fabricated and false. The other thing, special interest, if everyone did their homework, they would find out that the Drain Commission does not have the authority to take the dam down. The Drain Commission, the council, and also the village cannot establish a level of the pond, a permanent level. That has to be done by other means. So you take those two issues out, it doesn't affect anyone that's down on my side of the pond. There's totally no truth to the matter that we would like to stop the drain because it's gonna affect us personally on the other end, on the south end of the pond. Those two issues are not part of it, although in Fleece and Vanderbrink, they do say that they would like to lower the pond to have the water run off. You know, you get to a point, and I agree with you, everybody has a right to say this, I'm a big supporter of the First Amendment. Send letters into to the editor, get a bullhorn, go out in the park, but I don't think this is the place for personal attack.
Anyone else? Certainly.
Thank you. I'm Doug McAdoo. Good to see everybody here. I've always said less than 1% of people come to the meetings. I guess I'm wrong now. We're about 2%. It's good. It's good. We get a lot more interest. Quickly, I've noticed that there was no indication on the green sheet for wages. And you paid wages, I assume, this month, but you need to tell the public how much and who. We're looking at the budget shortly, and we've already said there's items we can't talk about, which means things are here, things are happening. You need to take that in consideration. I too want to know about this third person. We went from 3 to 2, and now we're back to 3, and that's a cost right there. That and if you say you need them, then we get rid of them. If we have to suffer a little, we do. But money is going to be the issue. I see that we spent $6,400 for the attorney's fee. Was that 1 month, or was that 2, 3, or 4? If you can find that out, I appreciate that. What's the scope? Just off the top of my head, I'd say we're in about $100,000 in the next couple months for attorney fees and associated fees. And I'd like to know where we're gonna get that out of the budget. As I've said before, almost every year, the insurance for the employees should be done by a committee of the council and not done by the office itself. And I think you need, now that you're starting the budget, you need to take a look at the insurance. And shop around. That's all. A couple things. I go to the Metropolitan Alliance and kind of for general information. There's a hazmat collection coming up. There's one that was just added for next Saturday. I think the information is back there. There's going to be a lot of talk about roundabouts in Genesee County. There's one going in, starting in the fall, I think it is, on Bristol Road right at 75, where the entrance for the shop traffic comes out. It's gonna be a difficult one. They decided to start with that one. There's gonna be the black hoses across the roads taking counts, but not in Atlas Township this time around. There is a chance that if they proceed speedily, they could change. Right now, they're gonna be up the northwest corner and maybe north M15 above Davison. There was a lot of construction in Davison last year. There's gonna be more this year. We didn't talk about any monies for Atlas Township. But with that said, I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Please.
Katie Beck, Spring Road. Mr. Baldwin, at the Walk by Run Committee, I remember it was mentioned that the township was going to be, working on being established as the Genesee County's, is it the master plan for the pathways, so that they could be part of what the county is doing for their entire picture for the whole county for the pathways. And I believe Mr. June had mentioned possibly that the village should look into joining that as well, since some of the pathways that the, Walk by Run Committee is establishing, or that is it the Pathway Fund that was established? That money will be going towards it, and some of those plans were including village pathways, so maybe that's something we wanna look into, partnering with the township and the county to be included in their master plan when they finish it, if they haven't already. So, thank you, that's all.
Anyone else? Let's move on down to unfinished business, the Genesee County Sheriff Department report. I've got that. Comments, anyone?
I have a comment, Mr. President. From what I'm seeing here, let's see, let's have 1 month and 3 weeks. That's all the calls they've had in that list is these two. 14. Is that what I'm understanding, Jackie?
I'll answer. These are the significant activity logs on their log that are driving without a license, driving drunk, domestics, those types of things. They don't send us all of the stuff on stopping and speeders and that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Jackie. Any other comments? Reports from the street administrator.
Patching potholes and working on getting the new shed in the park, getting estimates for street sweeping and so forth. If I may, I will answer, the man, our third man, he works 24 hours. We hired him a year and a half ago in the wintertime. He works 24 hours a week, he's not full-time. He gets 25, and he gets no benefits. And he's a darn good mechanic. He's saving his money there, he knows how to take things apart, cylinders, get them off and fix them, so. You're getting a bargain. He is very good, he is certified. He worked for 7 or 8 years for Mr. Johnson, so he's run all the equipment, and he's a good fellow to have around. And, just to send somebody else to get the training for that would be $5,000 to $8,000 of our money. He's already trained, so you're getting a good bargain for your price right now. it's not gonna get easier in the village, it's gonna get tougher. And we're working on maybe doing Dutch Road a different way, where we may only have to grade it once a year. We're getting the prices and stuff to come in and do what they did out on Walker Road. So they've been kinda busy. They had to go to Saginaw one day to get our coal patch. It's the only place you can get it. You cannot get it in Genesee County now, you have to go to Saginaw. So, it's a trip up there and a trip back, but,
Sounds like a good business to start.
yeah. But they're the only ones that makes it for just strictly coal patch. It doesn't get hard and freeze up on you. Other than that, we'll be putting the signs out for the garage sale, May 1st or 3rd, whatever it is. Second. Okay. I'm close, I was in between.
Right month.
Right in that area.
Thanks, Shirley.
How about other street repairs and, how about the downtown area?
Downtown area, we've been working on trying to get a grant, trying to get people to come in and give us an estimate on milling the downtown or taking an inch and a half off. It is bad. I ain't gonna lie to you, it is bad. It needs to be milled. I would like to do it on a Sunday when nobody's open, where they come in there and mill it and nothing else. Put a patch on it. Jackie and I have been working with it to get a grant that don't come out to 217, and it's what, 375,000? To go in there and tear it out and fix it. But when you do that, you're going to disturb the people downtown, their businesses for probably 6 or 7 weeks. It's gonna make it very, very tough on them. And if we can get somebody in here to give us an estimate, that what I think is fair, and for what we did in Rose Lane Mill and all over, we got about the same square footage here, and that was about 45,000. And I'm hoping we can do that for that, to make it last at 217. There is some curb repair up there we will fix as soon as the weather allows us. Crack sealing, the material's been ordered. Hopefully the machine comes. Davison Township and City of Davison ordered their material last year. They got 2.5 pallets, but they never got the machine. And, they have about 100 of them, they run all over the United States, but they're supposed to be here this year. And, they were not available in this area last year. But they're supposed to be here this year, for what we've been told. That's about all I have. Florida was great, it was warm, it was hot, the whole time I was down there.
Quiet,
Pardon me?
quiet.
No. Might have got 8 hours of rain in 3 weeks. It was not wet. And, that's all I have.
9/11?
We're still working on the incorporation of the city of Flint into the 911 system. We need to hire a few more people to work in the 911 center. If anybody's interested in a job or knows anybody, they can go down and make an application. We were trying to hire all the 911 Flint operators, but they don't apply, we can't hire them. We're also working on getting computers into the fire stations. Police stations got them, but the fire stations haven't as of yet. So we're working on doing that.
That mean Fred's gonna get his computer? Tell him, Charlie.
It's still a maybe.
We have one, it's just old.
How about water and waste?
We're working on a change to the sewer ordinance that has to do with when there's a use change, making sure that the ordinance matches the changes that we've already done on it, not we, the county, to be in compliance with the county. They went through a year or so ago and changed some of the number of units that are needed for different uses, so there's a slight change to the ordinance just to make sure those two blend together. And that's it.
I think Shirley would like to talk to us on Parks and Rec, right?
No, Angie.
Angie. Angie, I know what you're here for. My bad.
And Sue possibly.
Amy.
Amy, sorry. Didn't see your face.
Angie Adamnick
Amy Seigel.
from Goodrich Village Volunteers. The Goodrich Village Volunteers, along with Jason Fleming, are pleased and proud to make our final presentation to the council and community tonight with a new stone sign for our park. This sign is being funded by the John Andrew Fleming Foundation.
The sign will be located on Eagle Road, downtown, just west of the dam, on the north side of the road, where the unmarked entrance to the park exists.
The back of the sign makes reference to some park history and to the bicentennial celebration when the new park was dedicated and named through a contest of school children.
Pass that around. This is the photo taken of the original Goodrich Commons sign, which was designed using the students' winning words and logo. Historical facts were taken from Emery Bennett and the Lions Club records, as well as from Linda Johnson of the Bicentennial Committee and from the local newspaper records at the time.
The sign reads, Goodrich Commons, originally the site of the old Goodrich Mill. It was the Goodrich Manufacturing Company who in 1975 donated the site to the community. On September 7th, 1975, the Goodrich Lions Club held a groundbreaking ceremony to which they founded the site Goodrich Community Park Project. The park dedication July 4th, 1976 at the Goodrich Bicentennial Celebration. Park name by second grade student Jason Fleming. A common is a piece of land shared by the community. The park logo by the 12th grade student Rob Robinson. The red, white, and blue symbolize our flag and its 200 years. The green symbolizes the hills and valleys of our community. Special thanks to the Goodrich Lions Club. This is written on the back of the park sign, and this is the front of the park sign. This sign is dedicated to the memory of John Andrew Fleming by his brother Jason Fleming and family. Jason and John Andrew's parents are here in the audience with us tonight. The sign will be set in a base of large rock with an attached seating bench beside of it. It will rest on a concrete slab with a large hole off each corner to offer protection from perhaps a misguided truck or equipment.
Well-known ceramic artist Guy Adamack is donating the color tile work for the sign, which is here. Our volunteer group has applied for a grant from the Keep Genesee County Beautiful, which, if we're awarded, we will use to do a planting around the sign.
We are shovel-ready with this project. We will be contracting with Genesee Cut Stone for slab, Robert Noel of Lapeer as our rock mason, Woodbeck Construction for the cement work. We envision this sign to be an inspiration for us further developing this park entrance with a walkway and additional landscaping we hope to more fully appreciate the opportunity we have for beautifying our park and our community. Tonight, we are asking for your final approval on this project. Any questions?
When will it be completed, Angie?
As weather permits, the first thing we do is order the stone. That will take, 6 weeks to 2 months to be ready. It will take, the cement will be prepped for it when it comes. And the stone mason comes after that, so late spring, early summer, it should be. And we hope to have it ready, certainly ready in time for Goodrich. Good times.
Good times.
Good times in Goodrich.
Just for clarification, when you came to council previously, the sign was going to be down the hill a little bit. Since then, the location, through talking to different council people in the office, has been changed to where G used to be, is, we've taken one tree down, we'll be taking the village, taking another tree down, so it will be visible from Eagle Road instead of having to walk into the park to find it, just for verification, on a location.
Yeah, and Ethan, DPW Director Ethan, said there will be absolutely no problem having it there, it's not gonna be a problem for driving trucks, anything, he really looks forward to this project.
Question I have, Mr. Baldwin, is part of the Goodrich Recreation Master Plan. I guess I don't know what's all in there, what the master plan stated for on top of that hill and whatnot. I think the sign is great and it doesn't need to be out there, but, do you think the Parks and Recs Committee should be involved in this, since they can go over the master plan and, you know, to make sure this isn't gonna be in the way of anything that was gonna come about that? I mean, I'm not trying to stop this taking place, but
I understand.
Yeah, okay.
Angie, I don't think there was ever anything that was mentioned about any future thing that the parks were gonna do at the top of the hill, was there?
Say that again?
There was never any discussion about any improvements on top of the hill where this sign location is now supposedly where you'd like to put it.
Yeah.
There was never any discussion about doing anything up there that related to the park, was there? At the top of the hill?
Are you talking about as pertains to this sign or something else?
The
No.
actual park
No,
itself.
yeah, this-
I know you've been involved in the
Right,
park a lot.
this was delayed for a long time because of the dam issue and what was gonna have to happen, and maybe we couldn't put it there if it's in the way. I know that was in the way for a long time. Other than that, no, there was no other construction or anything planned there. And once we got the clearance, from two council members and Ethan from the DPW, all agreed that there would be no issue with having it there. That's when we moved the plans to the park sign up there, where we originally wanted it to be. That was our original wish place.
This project's been going on for at least 2 years, if not 2.5 years.
And it was, yes.
When Jason first contacted me, and you started your group, we thought that that would be a great project for you guys to begin working on, and finalizing it.
Did that answer any of your questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't something already, for the master plan, already something set for on top of that hill, or if there was.
I don't
any
believe there ever
possibility.
was any talk about anything for the park on top of the hill. I think it was all from the hill down.
And if there was to be any dam repairs or anything, you know, major going on, is that gonna be in the way of large equipment, so to speak, for them to have to move around?
Probably not.
I just hate to see us put something on
Yeah,
myself
good point.
and get knocked over.
I guess my only concern would be, are we still planning on putting lights around this? Are we gonna
No.
illuminate this at all?
No lights.
You're
I
not?
thought they were talking about solar lights or something, or wasn't there?
Nope. No lights.
We have a light fixture, a plug up there that the DPW will move over closer to the dam that used to light up the flagpole.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
So what they're looking for is final approval from the council to break the ground.
Make a motion.
No other discussion there? I'm looking to support. I'll support it.
Did you make a motion?
Yes.
Tim made the motion, I support it. Roll call, please.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Vic,
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Thank you, and we sincerely thank the John Andrew Fleming Foundation for this contribution to the village of Goodrich, for its community, and for its residents.
And we thank you.
I was gonna say, could you stand up so everybody can see who you are?
I just wanted to mention that this is going through because of Angie and Amy and all their hard work. You have wonderful volunteers in this village. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next on the list is our code enforcement agent.
Mark, I'm sorry, one thing, Park and Recs, did we got a meeting for our committee to start yet? We gotta get that going.
Hopefully soon.
Can we put a tentative meeting date for first Wednesday of next month?
Well,
Ju-
first
just
we
to
have
get
to
it
get
started.
through setting up the budget meetings.
I'm good. My question?
All set then? Code enforcement.
Nothing at this time,
It's good to see you in attendance though.
unless you have something for me.
Just want to say hi, David.
Okay.
Administrative.
Just to remind people that the M15 garage sale is May 2nd. So send up your goodies and put a sign out there, and it's going to be very busy this year. We're going to expect from the calls and the emails that have come in to all of the people involved, and there's signs on expressways, so stay home and sell something that day.
I have a question. We have 2 snowplows out there. Can we put them out front for sale?
You gonna stay here and do it?
Yes.
Me? No, I'm gonna go buy. I know my wife's gonna wreck my checkbook.
Could we do that in front of the office?
We have those 2 blades
Joe?
that we replaced. We could put a sign on them with a phone number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a price that we're asking?
We'll come up on them.
Well,
One of them doesn't have, one of them's just a plow and the other one is a plow and everything. But they're, for a guy who's gonna do his own driveway, they're great. They go out and plow every day with them. For a business, probably not so much.
Tim, maybe you and Pete can get together and see if you can kind of do a little research, find out what they're worth. Set them out there, chain them together and sell them.
Yeah.
I
Which one of
mean,
you's gonna be out there? If nothing else, put a telephone number down there or
we
something.
could do that.
Exposure is probably
That
the
will
key.
keep Pete's number.
The last thing I put out there for sale was a tractor, and I sold it in 45 minutes, believe it or not.
We made money on that one
Taking big money.
Yeah, they offered 6 and I sold it for 13.5.
No, it's the ones for the medium duties, right?
Pardon me?
The blades for the medium.
One's for the 1.5 tons and one's for the 3/4. We changed them.
It's not just a blade, it's the whole assembly.
One of them might be just the blade. The other one, we had to change the center. Because it was bad. It was actually broken. We're
Let's
both-
talk about it and we'll look at
And if you fold the assembly in there, you might have a buyer on it.
And that's good, and that's good.
I tow, I don't plow.
There you go.
Oh, you can put it on the back and pull it out. You get the ways to pull it up and down.
Let's not even think about snow right now.
Yeah, right.
If we can, let's move along and do sidewalks, please.
Yep, I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done.
As I said, we need to set budget meetings. We need to have at least one during the day so that the DPW can attend and talk about roads and equipment and things like that. We probably need to have at least 3, if not 4 meetings. So I need to have an idea of when people are available to set these meetings. The first one would be in general going over the items on the budget and what different line items entail as far as office operations, maintenance and repair, for property, just in general of different items that we budget for and that we take a look at. Ethan and I have been working, Pete's been involved in it, getting prices on different activities that would be happening, supplies if we need them, those sorts of things.
What time of the day are you looking at?
If we could have meetings at 6 o'clock, that would be great. If, in order to have Ethan attend at least one, that would be sometime before 2 o'clock, I would say.
We have to have a 2 o'clock meeting, I'm just speaking for myself, but Friday would be better. The 6 o'clock one can be whatever.
what about an early in the morning meeting?
Friday would still be better.
So early in the morning it is. On Friday,
On a Friday.
depending on what everybody else says.
Everybody's good
Friday's
with
all
that?
right till Schumann season gets here, not voting mushroom.
Keep it on Friday, Pete, and let you come over to my house.
Then are you going to recommend dates here now? Can we do that?
I think it'd be imperative to have Ethan there.
Yeah. We could meet, can't do it that weekend. The first, with Ethan, we could meet the 1st of May. If that works with everybody at,
That's an AM meeting, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
9 better than 8. I'm here at 8.
9's better than 8 for me.
9 o'clock on
I'm
May.
retired.
Everybody good with 9
May
o'clock?
1st.
That's okay. 9 o'clock's good.
Does that work with everybody? All right, so that's an Ethan meeting. We don't have a planning commission or a zoning board of appeals meeting this month, so we could meet, if 5 o'clock works, that's great too. We could meet on the 20th, 27th, and or both, if you want.
You're still in May?
No, we're in April.
April.
You're going backwards?
Well, we got the daytime one, we're cool.
Okay.
5 o'clock would be good. If that gets everybody out of work.
What day did you have for April? What was the date?
The 20th and the 27th, those are both Mondays. Normally we have planning commissioners, zoning board of appeals, but I don't have anything on the agenda.
5 o'clock.
Does that work?
Yeah. That is free, right?
Does that work for everyone? I didn't hear what Tim said.
I just had to rearrange previous appointment.
Are you good with that?
Is it
I'm
both
always
days?
good with it.
All right, and the 4th one, if need be, we'll schedule that accordingly.
Yeah. So, Monday the 20th at 5 PM and the 27th at 5 PM. And like I said, the first meeting will be going over items that go in, to make up the budget, and then get into a little bit more detail about, I mean, we can answer questions and talk about anything at that time, but,
Yeah, you said 5 PM on the 27th also?
Yes.
of April?
yeah,
Okay,
if that works. I'll send out a notice
thank you.
to your email accounts, or,
And probably because of the fact that Ethan is going to be in May, we're probably gonna end up with one, the 4th one. Because I
I
think
can
probably
try to-
what he has to say is probably gonna be important, so.
I can try to do one on the 17th.
What's
You wanna do one the end of this week?
What is the election?
We've got everything in for the DPW already. If you wanna do the 17th, to talk with Ethan first.
What date was that?
Friday the 17th?
This Friday coming up then?
Yeah, if that works better than holding off until the 1st of May.
It's May 5th?
What?
It's a 17th.
We'll just do May 5th or.
That's this Friday.
No,
Yeah.
April 17th, it's this Friday.
So you're moving Ethan's up to May 17th instead of the 1st?
If that would be better for discussion purposes.
I think it might be.
That's a Friday, I'm good.
What time?
It's 9 o'clock.
And how long are we talking? How long are we talking?
He's asking how
As
long.
long as you're talking.
Hour and a half.
I mean, we can set time limits on.
So that one was in place of the 1st?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Alright.
I think that makes more sense though.
Friday the 17th at 9 AM, Monday the 20th at 5 PM, and Monday the 27th at 5 PM, and then if we need additional meetings, we can set those.
You are gonna email us that information,
I can get it,
yeah.
and the meetings will be, they're public meetings when we're done, but they are a work session.
Just put it in your smartphone. Rick, put it in your smartphone.
My smartphone's not smart enough.
Put it on your stone tablet. Laser neat.
I'm glad you're so.
Not her.
I know.
I said it with love.
Did you?
Yeah.
What a guy.
Cold as a stone. Are we good with that? Fourth one?
Oh, and, just for the council and the, citizens, if you haven't already received something from Consumer Power, everyone's going to be receiving a new, meter. So you'll be getting some of these letters, congratulations, you're going to get a new meter upgrade. Your upgrade is coming. This is probably the first thing that people will be receiving as to why they want it. And then if you're not home, you're gonna get one of these and you need to call them. And this project is gonna start by consumers within the next little while. Like I say, some people may have already received it. But there's, it's going to be a meter that is, they don't have to come out anymore. They're just going to be dialing you up between, I think it's 1 and 3.
Right, you will
At
not,
night.
not have a meter reader anymore.
Right.
There'll be actual readings and they can do it 24/7 real time.
If you
More jobs lost.
absolutely do not want to have one of these, there is information that you can, tell them you don't want one, but you have to pay extra for not having somebody, or for having somebody come over and read. So, there are some information sheets back or up and down.
It is beneficial.
I'm always leery when they call around smart meters, smartphones, because they're only smart as the person.
They're going to be reading them on a daily basis.
Well, they can. So there'll be no more, just go to the estimate. I know exactly. You don't pay your bill, you can turn it off immediately. You want somebody climbing your pole out front?
That's all I have.
It's just the world is coming. Okay, you're good, Jackie?
Good.
We're good.
Now, number 5, let's move on to sidewalks, please.
Anybody got any reports?
There's no snow on them, that's good.
My sidewalk's cracked. Nothing's cracked.
Do we have anything scheduled for any sidewalk repair or?
We'll go into that in time.
Number 6, attorney.
There isn't anything new to report, so Mr. McKinney, as you can see, is not here tonight.
Chamber of Commerce.
Now the Chamber of Commerce. I'll get it right now, Shirley.
Shirley Coltman Jones here for the Goodrich Atlas Chamber of Commerce, and Marla Millar, who is the new president-elect of the Goodrich Atlas Chamber. So as a chamber, we have a lot of activities coming up, and things in the community to share. This Saturday, April the 18th, is the Friends of the Library Book Sale, Bake Sale. It's also prescription drug drop-off at Atlas Township at the Sheriff's Substation. That's from 10 to 2. The book sale and bake sale takes place from 9 to 5 in the upper level of the library. Saturday, April 25th from 9 to noon is the Earth Day Community Cleanup. And that will start at the Methodist Church. Everyone will meet there and be given vests and bags and gloves and that. That'll go through till noon, and then there'll be a lunch provided in the Methodist Church in the dining room there. So that's a great thing for the community. Of course, May 2nd is the M15 garage sale. And one of the reasons that we are here is to ask and also notify that the chamber would like to rent 2 porta-johns. One will be placed at the Yellow Dog, in conjunction with porta-johns that they will be renting privately. And another porta-john will be placed down at the Goodrich Plaza. And the chamber will pay for those, and that will be overseen by the chamber. Last year, all of the businesses along the M15 corridor, in our community especially, were impacted by restroom facilities for people that were traveling along M15 and visiting the communities. So the restaurants, it's great because for the patrons that are there purchasing food and dining, but there were a lot of people that just merely dropped in to use the restrooms. So we're trying to figure out a way to help with that impact. So this year the chamber will rent 2 porta-johns, and Angela Grogren from Lucy's is getting permission from the property owner of the plaza itself for 1 porta-john there, and the other one will be on the private property of the Yellow Dog Marketplace. So if the council has any questions regarding that, it won't be in public road right away, it'll clearly be on private property.
Any questions? Any questions?
How long will it be there?
Well, they'll probably set the porta-john on Friday and pick it up on Monday, and most likely they'll have to be out on Saturday to service it. I know this is a little early, but December 3rd is the downtown Christmas. I know nobody wants to think about snow, but we're already working on plans for that. So that'll be Thursday, December 3rd in the downtown Eagle Road area. So
Okay.
that's it. Thank you very much. These are some flyers for the community cleanup, and I'll just put these on the back table if anybody's interested.
New business, zoning text amendment to allow private and public indoor recreational facilities in industrial zone. Everybody knows this is that.
Excuse me, Patty Plant is the contact person for the community cleanup for April 25th. So if anyone has any questions, they can contact her at Cranberries.
Thanks, Shirley. Please.
In your packet, there's wording for the zoning text amendment. This is as a result of the people that own, Mr. Bass and Mrs. Bass own the old Goodrich manufacturing site, and they were approached by the soccer group to see if they could do indoor soccer training facilities. It won't be games per se, they'll just have different training, probably little scrimmages or something like that. It's going to affect section 36-423 in the conditional use section of industrial zoning, just to allow private and public indoor training facilities. An ad will be placed in the paper, and it would become effective if you approve this in 14 days. And Mr. Vick was at the meeting. If you have any questions about the zoning text amendment, the conditional use, as the minutes reflect in your packet, there were some conditions placed on the conditional use in regards to lighting and parking and different things like that. So I'm looking for a motion to approve or just approve both of them.
Comments? Questions if you have them.
I'll make a motion that we accept the zoning amendment.
I'll second it.
Any other comments, gentlemen?
Nope.
Roll call, please.
Brandon,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Vic,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Last on the list, the conditional use for the enterprise at 8271 South State Road. That's to allow a soccer training facility.
I have, drawings of what the site looks like. The only difference between what it looks like when you drive by there is the notion of, where the parking's gonna be, if anybody wants to. Take a look at it. I didn't have enough.
That's not the building. Good logo,
I don't know if there's anybody here for the soccer or not.
I don't think so.
You see the far east building tomorrow? That's where the soccer field's gonna go.
Yes.
Okay. And there's future plans that you can see on here for storage on the south building, and then there are offices up front storage.
The parking facilities and everything, the way I see it, well, there's more than enough parking facilities, and I know that they had made some comment in here about the drop and off and pickup area. That would be the only thing that I would be a little concerned with, and this is all pending on the fire chief's approval too, right?
Do you understand that there for the drop off, they're actually gonna be driving around the building, there's gonna be a one-way, so they're not gonna be pulling out, dropping off, and then driving back out.
One way in, one way out.
Yep.
In south side, north side.
North side.
Yep.
We're gonna, they have to put a fence up to black the, headlights and the noise between
The house.
the roadway and the house.
To the north, okay.
And they're gonna put a
A while
fence.
ago, you couldn't even walk through there.
Yeah, they're gonna clear most of those bushes out where they can get the fence in, so they can block the lights to the house.
So if they're gonna run the drive around, then what's that do to the additional parking facilities that they're showing on here?
It's fine. The drive around
Because
goes
if
up
it's
the
the
side.
scale, there's
The
not
north
gonna
side
be
of the
enough
building.
room.
Driveway goes a little bit, and south side where the post office is.
They come around the whole thing.
What I'm saying is that parking spots are right on top of where they would be driving through.
That's what I
No,
said.
there's
There's
enough.
pretty good wide right away there. There used to park cars along there.
And even if you removed, was it 5 or 6 of them, there were still plenty of
Yeah,
parking
looked like it.
on there, yeah. I know they were gonna be doing some work to the asphalt, because there's a loading dock, they're gonna be raising that up, so that can be a hazard and whatnot, I believe that was also discussed.
They also could have some to the south of the building.
So we're looking for a motion to, approve or send it back to the planning commission.
Motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Brandon,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Vic,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. And our public comment.
Cindy Beebe, I just wanna mention that I'm really disappointed. In the last budget that we did, when we did a raise, one of the things that was discussed was that we were not gonna hire any DPW because we were giving raises and we were gonna work within our means and handle what we had. I am shocked that we have an ex-member that just left, that gets up here and speaks and talks about budget, and this gentleman didn't even know this guy was hired. He may be the best worker you have, Maury, but you didn't post it. You guys did not file a motion for that position. You guys should be letting us know who's working for us. And everybody should be able to write in and obtain for that position. There are all kinds of people all over the state of Michigan that are qualified and are just as ambitious, if not more than our own here. I can promise you that one. but yet you chose within. It's the same old goody boy system, yet we sat here month after month begging for help for our flooding. Yet you turned around and found more money for raises and to hire another person in the DPW, but you never ever opened up a coffer to help us. That's inexcusable. That is totally inexcusable of every one of you. You should be saving money. If he would have been brought on casual, I could get it. I could see you bringing somebody in for a winter storm or helping with the parks when we're getting ready for a parade. But for you guys to take it upon yourself when we're in the state that we're in, to bring somebody in and not even post a position legally, no school, no hospital, no other facility, and probably the state of Michigan would even consider doing it. It's appalling.
Douglas?
I want to clarify one statement that I made about no construction south of Davis on M15. They're going to put in left-hand turns at Bristol Road at M15. If you're northbound or southbound. But the timing, I'm not sure about the time. It might be, that might be next summer, not this summer. But there is going to be some construction there. Who knows, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Thank you for bringing up the smart meter thing. I tell you what, you really need to study that. There's some serious health hazards. It's in court all over the place. They're dropping the term smart meter. It's a meter update. I haven't received that. Although the round one I remember seeing somewhere. But you really need to do your homework on these quote smart meters because they radiate a signal. And in my situation, all the people behind me would piggyback and transmit to the neighbor, and transmit to the neighbor, and transmit, and end up being stored at my house. And then whenever they push the button down in Flint or wherever, the data would stream over. What a lot of it is about getting information on you and your family so they can send advertising. Silly idea, isn't it? They're gonna find out about you so they can send you. They can tell when the temperature goes above 75, how much electricity clicks on in your house. Do you have air conditioning, yes or no? No? You're getting an ad for air conditioning. You're on that list. They can tell how many people live in the house. They can tell what time you get up, what time you go to bed. There's a lot of things they can tell. They can tell if you have an electrical car. This is not about them saving money, it's about intrusion into your life. But the health thing is doctors are writing prescriptions like crazy to get out of it. It does radiate a signal, and it's particularly harmful to young kids, you know. And thank you for bringing that up. I have to echo what Cindy said. We kept saying, you're pushing things down the road, you're pushing things down the road, they're here. You know, this is real. You're spending $100,000 for an attorney, win or lose. And, you know, it's like, we can always come up with money to pay wages. We can always come up with money for benefits. But, you know, this gotta stop. You know, you need to plan ahead. You know, you need to think about the people that are out here. It's not about whether somebody's trained for a job. You know, if we got along without him, I mean, you know, if he was so well trained, why do we spend $300 for Mr. Cummings to repair something? You know, right in here, you just got through saying you paid somebody to do a repair job, $300. No, it's just another family member hired.
True.
Thank you.
Patricia Bortella, and I just wanted to wait and see under administrative, or Mr. Baldwin, you stated that you can't speak about the Wheelock Watkins and Drain project. You're going on the attorney's advice. I'm just telling the public, you can get on the website, you can get on Jeff Wright's website, and you can click on, under Board of Determinations, the Wheelock-Watkins Drain Project is there. And the options are there, and I'm here to say this publicly, that there are at least 5 options that are there. What a disservice this community has been done, what you've done to us. I'm not including Mr. Brandon or Mr. Vick, because they publicly want discussion. But for you to not discuss these options for the public to hear is a disservice to all of us. You say it affects some people, but you have to think of the others. I'm here to tell you that I did pull up a cover letter dated September 17, 2014 from Susan Kubik. And it was also sent to Norman Bass, Richard Ciroli, Mark Baldwin, and Richard Horton. And on this cover letter, it states that she's enclosed, and she sent it to Jackie, and she says under her bullets that, under the addendum that she addresses, here's some alternatives after her meeting with these people. And what she says is redirecting the water from the golf course in the low area back to the mill pond by removing the dam or permanently lowering the normal and high water of the pond to allow the water to flow into it. Removal of the dam was proposed as the most desired green option by your consultant, Tammy Heslett. Provide detention on the golf course to reduce upstream flow, to reduce the size of the pipe and reduce cost. 3, provide a relief sewer south of Erie and east of Clarence across the park to reduce cost. And 4, look at the cost of utilizing the existing 30-inch pipe under Kegel Road versus placing a new pipe. Also, I could go on and read this, but the people need to know they can pull this up. But what I'm saying to you is, there are options. And out of all those options, Mr. Baldwin, there has to be one that is favorable. Here's the other thing that I want to say to you, and for all the people to hear. The disservice that is being created for this community, these people need to understand that you were elected with the rest of you here. And for you to say that you can't discuss it, and then put the responsibility on Mr. Jeff Wright, I'm gonna tell you, he is not the person that anybody should blame. It is all of you, the 3 of you, not these 2 gentlemen, but the 3 of you. Because you hold the majority, and you know you do, but yet you're the governing body. You are the governing body. This Wheelock-Watkins Drain Project is coming forward. And this letter here, this cover letter, is on the web. And when I read it, this was before the gag order that Mr. McKinney has so-called put on this council that was never voted on. You could have discussed it. But I don't think it was discussed because it wasn't favorable for a few people. And that's unfortunate. What could be saved in a few $100,000 could be millions for this community. Millions. It's your responsibility. It's on your shoulders. It's not on Mr. Wright's shoulders.
I just want to say, we hear a lot of negatives about, the dam and so forth, and, in my opinion, I think the mill pond is probably one of the greatest resources that this community has. And it's there for anybody within our community to enjoy.
I disagree.
Really?
Here. Yes, and I'm order. He has the floor.
So I just wanted to speak my opinion, because there are a lot of people that are in favor of saving the dam, saving the mill pond. And I'm up here representing a group of people that have reached out to some engineering firms, and we have gotten estimates for upgrading the dam, and we've also gotten estimates for replacing the dam. And I know that we can't talk about this right now, but when the lawsuit is over and you guys are ready to discuss the dam, we would be happy to share that information.
Sure.
Members afterwards, that's simply what I have here.
Got it?
Oh, my God.
Again, Richard Cerulli, Goodrich. First of all, I'll try to re-qualify this again. You're not gonna be able to lower the level of the pond. Council can't do it, the village can't do it, nor can Mr. Wright do it. There's a certain process that goes on that you establish a permanent level of the pond. And it's not in the authority of those groups I just spoke of. So this thing that Police and Vanderbilt is talking about, running it off the golf course and looking, not gonna happen. Because there's no one has the authority to do it, of the groups that are involved in this, all right? Secondly, if I remember correctly, it was with one of the local papers that Ms. Hasbit is her name, that was our consultant? She retracted her position. She retracted her position and said that they don't want to stay up. So don't rely on this. This is, I've taken a page from Ms. Allen's playbook and brought.
Please, no names, please, no names. I'm
Oh, aren't you something?
Here, come on now, let's maintain order. Let's maintain
We're
order.
gonna kill Black.
And we won't go there again, please.
All right, this is which you have copies of. This is basically the debt that the village is looking at currently. Current village long-term debt, the village offices, whether you agree with it or not, it is a debt that we have to pay. The last I heard, the principal was $935,000 that we owed, and with interest, it's $1.6 million, and it's going to be paid off in 2044. The village's contingent liabilities, and for those who don't know the definition, they're liabilities that may be incurred by an entity depending on the outcome of an uncertain future event, such as a court case, litigation filed against the village and the golf course and the county. The plaintiffs are requesting damages that far exceed $25,000, together with cost, interest, and attorney fees. I don't know what that particularly means, far in excess, but I have the group that we're putting this together that's concerned about this, they're saying that if the damages granted are $50,000, 10 plaintiffs, total of $500,000, the village's exposure would be $167,000. If it was $1 million, it would be $333,000. Replacement of the dam is estimated cost between $600,000 and $800,000. Removal and testing is the greater cost that we found out talking to other communities. You may get some grants if you put up a new dam to take that down, and it all depends how much money will be available. Some communities got money to take down the dam, others had not. Police and Vanderbilt supplemental, they said, alternative 2A, $669,000. Alternative 2A1, $602,000. Alternative 2A2, $511,000. And obviously that would have to be split up between the people that are living on the zone and us and the community. But here's the thing that's the concern. The figures given for each item, this is the footnote, the figures given for each item and the total figures of the POPC is only a preliminary opinion based on the data from similar projects as of the date of the study and subject to change. So I really don't know how good those numbers are. What it does not include is, it does not include easement, acquisitions, legal, financial, contracts, administration, engineering, permits, construction, staking as built, and so forth. based on the above, that this is gonna cost $1 million. All I'm saying is that I've asked you the council, you're not going to speak to it, but within the own process, find out, do we have to take whatever they offer? Isn't there a better way of solving the problem?
Anybody want to speak? Go ahead, man.
Norm Bass again. With this replacement of this drain or whatever, okay? And I have had experience in the engineering field to understand what we're talking about here and what's sad about it, that the preliminary estimates that we have been dealing with, and these dollars could get up to $1 million, okay? These plans were set on a 10-year study for rain. The second thing is that everybody in the community's got to understand that this $1 million that they're gonna try to force us to spend, which our community really can't afford to begin with, okay, is not gonna guarantee that this flooding condition is gonna be under control. And in most estimates that I've seen engineers do or whatever, they're running at least a study of rainfall for 100 years, and now they're even going to 200 years. And the basis of this study that Mr. Wright has brought to our attention, and I brought it to his attorney, that is set up on a 10-year plan, okay, of study for 10 years, will not solve the problem, and the $1 million is gonna be a waste of our community dollars. I want everybody in this community to understand that. I understand there's a problem, but there could be other means of more efficiently and cost-resistant to go ahead and fix the problem, but it takes time. It takes study, it takes a lot of people putting into it, and it's a damn shame that a few people in our community came up with a lawsuit and really put a clamp on everything. Thank you.
Katie Beck, actually, it's just sorry to see them leave. I wanted to say, I'm very concerned about what I consider a lack of planning for the Parks and Rec. I mean, although I think this is a great idea and it's awesome that the Flemings are willing to donate something like this, nobody makes mention of the Parks and Rec plan to reference before you just willy-nilly, sure, do what you want. We need to make a plan and follow it. How much money have we spent on these studies for professionals to tell us what to do? And then we throw them away and say, sure, put your sign here. I came to you a year ago and suggested that we take those pine trees out and put one nice center pine tree in that center and make that our focal point and put the sign right behind it at the top of the hill. And I still maintain that I think that's a better location, or the northeast corner between the driveway and the creek. I think it's a terrible location to put it in the center of that circle. Until you're going to pave it, until you're gonna do something to make it a cohesive entrance, I think it's a terrible, terrible decision, and I think it should have been discussed the way normal municipalities handle these kinds of things, with a proper committee in place. That's what committees are for. That's what they do. They're there to advise the council, because you as council members can't possibly spend every waking hour of your life researching and going through old master plans and determining that you're following what the community has requested. I feel like it's just a huge disservice to the community to not have some sort of open discussion. And what happened to that Parks and Rec master plan that we started passing a few months ago, with the only change being the dam, that just disappeared on us when we had concerns. And then my other comment would just be about what Mr. Walworth had said about having other possibilities with the dam. And I just wanna say, the council has said they're not going to discuss it, but I thought you also had encouraged that anybody that has anything to share, it's open public comments. It doesn't mean we're not allowed to discuss it to you. you don't wanna discuss it or comment back, but I think if anybody has a solution to offer, share it with everybody, let's open the lines of communication. If that's how we're gonna change, that's the only way we're gonna change. Okay. Speechwriter.
Anyone else? Everybody's leaving us. Council, it's your turn.
I have nothing.
I do have one thing. It was mentioned that the village could not afford the library. That is not why we do not have the library. The library was given back to the township for the simple reason, Mr. York and I met with the township, and we went over the figures. 75% usage of the library was the township, 25% of the village. We were paying 75% of the bills. They were paying half the light bill and half the maintenance on the library and the heat. We asked them to go 50-50. The township supervisor at that time, and the treasurer, and the clerk says, you own the library. We want half the rent. And we're not going half with you. Well, we came down and we did this building. What they did not know was if we did not rent the upstairs out and did not use the building for meetings, by our deed, we had to give it back. And that's the reason they have it.
Pete, I was on the council then, I know.
Well, don't tell, you got up there and said, we couldn't
Easy now,
afford it.
whoa, easy.
We
I'm
could
not
not
gonna allow
afford it.
this, I'm not gonna allow this.
And that was wrong because that's a lie.
Yeah, where you are.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Vick,
If I may, the presentation that one of our residents just gave, I'd like to clarify a few things. The engineering report dated November 18th, 2013, I do not have any engineering reports dated November 18th, 2013. What the gentleman is referring to is September 17th of 2014, which was the same one that another resident just spoke on earlier, and that is the alternate alternatives that those residents and yourself mentioned that you attended asking for and whatnot. So those were not the first one, and I'd like just to give some factual numbers here so we're not having this pretend game of making stuff up. The first one was $668,602. Second one is $601,376, and the third is $510,422. I do see that he rounded those up. Again, I don't like the game that was played with this last council, so I'm gonna make the statement, if the drain commissioner determines a 50% cost to the village with exposure, I do believe there's a public act that determines the amount that the village will be assessed, along with the residents in the drainage district and then the other residents outside of that. So, I won't go into any more detail because I know you don't really want this discussed, but I would ask before a presentation is done by an ex-council member, even though that gentleman is now a resident, which he does have the right to say, that we look at the facts before it is brought out to the public so we don't have any false information being released, since we are in a kind of a gag order on ourselves up here on this drain. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Mr. Hart?
I'm good.
I have a few things that, it sounds like a lot of these things
I
have
have a
been.
comment.
Oh, go ahead, Tim, I'm sorry.
First of all, Mr. President, I didn't mean to speak out of line, but, with all due regards to the resident that commented on the use of the pond, that anybody can enjoy it, that is an incorrect statement. The only access people have is through the beacon and bridge. Even the town's property on the mill pond has no trespassing signs, unless individuals in here that live on the pond would like people to use their yards. I personally wouldn't.
I think that old trespassing sign's not put up by us, it's from the lot that people own, our lot's on the other side of it. They put that sign up there so people wouldn't drive in their yard when the pond was down. and look at the pond and see what it was like.
Oh,
That's,
I was under the impression you.
we
told
did not
me.
put, no, that's not our sign.
I don't wanna talk about who did what and mention any names, but I don't believe it was the council that put that sign on there. What neighbor in the area put it on there, we could all guess.
Mr. Baldwin,
The council
I
did
spoke with her personally, the woman that put them up. It is the woman that lives next door. And she said,
And we will not talk about the names in your out of
she just
order.
said she was,
This is the
she was
council's
tired.
opportunity to speak, not yours. You
Well,
can't
it's
interrupt me.
because of what you said.
You're out of order, ma'am. You're out of order.
what
It
you
is
said.
council's opportunity. I give everybody, and I'm very lenient on the amount of time, but I want to maintain order. That's why I will not allow open dialogue. When you allow open dialogue, things get out of control, they get ugly. I don't want any more of these ugly meetings. Our opinions are gonna change and we're gonna disagree, and that's fine. No open dialogue. And we'll stick to that. Anything else?
Yes, last month, Jackie, Mark, Ethan, and myself, sat down and discussed, the operations of the DPW and some alternatives, and it's all positive and moving forward. I personally spoke to, the supervisor at the shed up here on Gale Road, Genesee County, Road Commission. And he had informed me, I specifically asked him in regards to if we were to hire Genesee County, will we be put on the priority list? And he laughed at me. He says, I gotta borrow drivers from across the county. He says, I don't have no drivers to do the roads here. So to think Goodrich would be high priority would be an egregious error. So with that said, I think eliminating the DPW would be a big mistake. And I was, before I got elected, I had my doubts, but I'm sitting here and telling you folks that if you wanna get rid of the DPW, it's a big mistake. Now, is there some things we can do to control the spending? As a resident stated earlier, he's absolutely correct. But with that said, we got a good crew. They had good guidance with, Pete, and, we just need to move forward. And, to say that, Genesee County will take good care of our roads, everybody better get a four-wheel drive. Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
I'll tell you, I'd like to use that quote too. We have to take and go forward. I think it's very important that we cautiously, but we've got to change some things. There's some things that need some tweaking in and some things that need to be improved in. But with that said, you know, Mr. Soroli, I can't comment on anything that you'd like commented on.
Realize that.
The budget workshop is forthcoming. We will be working on the budget, and we will be trying to cut costs as much as we possibly can. We also have minutes. And kind of what you're asking me to do is to change history. And I don't have that ability. The meetings in question, I mean, it was like 5 years ago, and I don't know what those council people had in mind, what their intentions were. All I know is what's down on a piece of paper. It is the council's responsibility to accept or reject the minutes. With that said, I'm not going to go any further with it. I'm not going to address the minutes from prior meetings. I think it's opening Pandora's box for a lot of things and changing minutes from our conception as far as being a village. And Schumann Drive from last week, hopefully we can do some road improvements on it. That's waiting for the hot patch, and I think Pete gave you an explanation on that. think I've touched on everything that was touched on last month. With that said, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support?
Yep.